Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mayowaoye. If you are just joining us for the first time, please tap the subscribe button below your screen and tap the like button. Also, in today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make this multi-layer pretty ruffle skirt. It's really pretty actually. But quick disclaimer before we continue, guys, I don't teach freehand cutting. I only work with patterns. I only teach pattern drafting. Why am I saying this? Is because I get a lot of questions about, how did you do this, how did you do that? And most times when I think about the questions, they are mostly questions that have to do with like freehand cutting, but I don't do that. So after this, the next slide you're going to see, it's me going to be bringing out my basic skirt block, which means I'm not going to be showing you how to draft a basic skirt block. 3 reasons why I don't do that. Number one, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable for me to do that in all of my videos. It doesn't really even, one of the main advantages of pattern drafting is that it saves time. So if I'm doing that in all of my videos, that means I'm not practicing what I preach. Number two, it makes the video unnecessarily long. And number 3, I have a paid course where I teach beginners how to draft their basic patterns. So if that is something you are looking for, you can always send me a DM on Instagram on @mayowa_oye. So I just wanted to put that out there just so that I don't waste your time or anything like that. But if you already know how to draft your basic patterns, and then what you are really in for is how to like make today's tutorial, how to make the multi-layered ruffle skirt, we can just continue. So yeah. So guys, first thing, get your basic skirt block, and this is mine. This is my basic skirt block right here, and it's already like drafted to the measurements I want, so I don't really need to do anything else. So now all I have to do is to just make the hem of the pencil skirts. I have to make the hem pencil because right now it is straight. And also you need to decide how long you want the skirt to be. You can see that the skirt, there's a joining around the knee area, so you can measure from your, maybe you can measure from your waist to your above knee, somewhere above your knee. So whatever measurement you get, you measure it and then you mark it right here. So now this is where I want mine to be. This is the hem of my skirt. So from here, I'm just going to go in by 1.5 inches just to shaping up the hem of the skirt to make it a pencil shape. And this is it here. So I'm just going to reconnect this back to my hip level here. So yeah, this is my above knee level, and this is my hip level, this is my waist level. So I'm just going to add allowances to this. I'll add ½ inch at the top here, 1 inch at the side, and then ½ inch at this part right here, and then I'll cut it on my fabric. So yeah, these are my allowances added. So please note that I'm going to be using this same pattern to cut both my front and my back. So when I'm cutting my front, all I have to do is to just like fold this border here, because I won't be needing it. So I'll just fold it, and then I'll cut my front, unfold, and when I'm cutting the back, I'll just open the border line, and this part is going to serve as the zipper. So I'm going to cut it in 2 pieces. So you got the drift. So I'm just going to cut this on my fabric now. So here it is, guys. Here's my front piece, cut, unfold. This is it. And there's my 2 back pieces in 2 pieces. So yeah, when I was cutting this, I made sure to close the dart because I don't want to sew any dart on this. So I just closed the darts and pinned it down before cutting on my fabric. So yeah, now let's continue layer by layer. Now for the first layer, that is the ruffle that goes this way, that's the slant ruffle. I'm going to keep my back pattern, my back piece aside. So I'm going to open up my front piece this way. So you decide where you want to start the slant piece from. You always don't have to do exactly what you're seeing in the picture. The idea is to just get something from use the picture as an inspiration. But if you want to copy it like totally, just like look for where they started from and look for where they ended, and then just do it exactly the same way. So now if you want to, you can just decide where you want the slant part to start from. So you can come here and say, okay, you want the slant part to start from here, or maybe you want it even in the middle. it depends on you. But for the picture, I think it was something, was like somewhere around here. So I'm just going to mark a point here at my side here. Then you please use a chalk for this. Don't use a pencil like I'm doing, because pencil marks don't, you won't be able to erase them. So you can just use that to draw a line all the way to where you want the slant part to stop. Obviously you can't see what I'm doing, but this is the general idea. Just draw here, here. So once you draw it, then you measure it. So you just measure the line. So let's say this is my own line, so I'm just going to measure it. So what do I have here? Let's just say I have 8 inches right here. So I'm going to write that 8 inches down somewhere. So here it is, the 8 inches. So now, because it's we have to gather it, we obviously are not going to measure an 8 inches long fabric. I'm going to multiply that by 3, just so that I have more room to gather this. So 8 times 3, that's 24. You can also multiply by 2 if you want. It depends on how much fabric or how many amounts of fabric you have. So this is 24 inches. So that will be the total width. That is how wide the fabric is that we'll be using to gather. Then for the length can be however you want. So this is the width. The length can be however you want. That is how long it is going to be. So you can decide to do maybe 5 inches, 8 inches, 10 inches. It all depends on you. So maybe we should use something like 8 inches for the length. So that is 8 inches. So width 24, length 8 inches. Length is how long, width is how wide. So you got it, and that is all for the first layer. So with this measurement, just cut this measurement on the piece of fabric, the piece of fabric you are using. Then we'll move to the second layer. So before we move on to the second layer, here's the first layer cut out. So this is all the way 24 inches, and from here is the 8 inches I mentioned earlier. The length, the width. Now the second layer is a circle skirt. So anyways, ignore my drawing. This is the circumference of my circle skirt, and this is the hem. So yeah, the second layer is a circle skirt. Now to get this part, I'm going to pick up my front piece. I'm going to pick up my skirt front piece. So yeah, this is my skirt front piece. Let's just open this up. Then I'll measure from here down to this part. So that will be the measurement of my circumference. So let's say I have about 13 inches from here to here. So that 13 inches, that will be the circumference of my circle skirt. That is the circumference of this part. Now for the length is from here, here. So the length, I'm going to just measure on your body, just measure from your above knee, where we stopped here. You know, when we're measuring this on our skirt, this is our skirt pattern. This is my skirt pattern here. We measured from here. I said measure to your above knee. Now, so to get the length for this one, you measure from your above knee down to where you want your second layer to stop. So maybe you want your second layer to stop at maybe 12 inches. So the length here will be like 12 inches. So yeah, I hope you got the drift. And then for the third layer would think it extended down. So let's say this is the third layer. So the third layer is going to be you just measure from your above knee again. So you measure from your above knee here all the way to the ground. So you measure it all the way to your feet. That is to your, maybe you want to stop at your ankle, you stop at, if you want to measure it down, 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 straight down to the floor, you measure straight to the floor. So it will be like this way. So maybe that is 30 inches for you or 40 inches for you, I don't know. So you just measure that. So I'm just going to move straight to drafting the circle skirt now. Let's just complete the skirt. This is it. This is the actual skirt. So yeah. So now, although I said this part here is 13 inches. Although it's a circle skirt, I still want to gather it. So I'm going to add maybe like 10 inches or 20 inches, depending on how full you want it to be. So you can add maybe like 10 or 20 inches to this. So let me just add 10. So that's 23 inches. So that will be the circumference of this part. So yeah, so it's the same thing you would also do for this one too. So just don't worry, when we just get to the third layer, this is the third layer, I will explain that, but let's focus on this part here. So 13 plus 10, that's 23 inches. Now let's draft our circle skirt pattern. So I'm just going to draw a border line here, so 1 inch border line here, 1 inch border line here. Now for the circle skirt pattern, we just have to do like a little calculation. So now my measurements here, this 23 inches here, 23, I'm going to subtract 2 inches from it, and then I'm going to divide it by maybe 6. So I'll divide it by 6. So why did I do that? Please, I have like a tutorial, a separate tutorial about how to draft a circle skirt. There's a more comprehensive explanation there, so I don't want to explain too much here, so that the video is not too long. So you can either divide by 6 or you divide by 3. If you want a half circle, you divide by 3. If you want a full circle, you divide by 6. So I'm dividing it by 6. So you can check out, the link is right on top of the screen, so you can check that out. So yeah, that gives me 3.5 inches. So that 3.5, I'm going to measure, I'm going to start from the point of origin right here, and then I'm going to measure it this way, I'll measure it this way, I'll measure it this way. So you got that. So right, this is it. I'm just going to connect it now. So yeah, that's our circumference. Now you just measure the length. The length we have here, so the 12 inches we talked about earlier, from here to here, this is 12 inches. So you just measure the 12 inches from here down, from here down, from here down, from here down. You got the drift. So yeah, these are my markings right here. So I'm just going to connect it. So because my paper was not long enough, I added an extra bit of paper here, and that completes it. So all you have to do now is to just add the ½ inch allowance here and maybe a 1 inch allowance down here. So pretty much, and that's that for the second layer. Now the third layer is really easy. All you have to do, we are still using the same pattern. All we have to do is to just increase the length, because the third layer is longer than the second layer. So you just measure from your above knee. I was talking about that earlier. So you just measure from your above knee here, this is our above knee, you just measure it all the way, maybe to the floor or maybe to your ankle, depending on where you want it to be. So yeah, I hope you got the drift of how we got here. So by the time you add your first layer, it goes this way. Guys, ignore my drawing. So yeah, that's that. I don't even know if this is how it's meant to look, but I just sketched something. Anyways, let's move on. So this can be the side seam. So this border here is the side seam, and this is just like a center front. So when you're cutting, you cut this on fold. So you can fold this in when you're cutting the front. You fold this in and then you place on your fabric right sides. I say right side. You place on your fabric on fold, so it opens up by the time you finish cutting. And then when you're cutting for the back, you can open this up. So I hope you got the drift. I'm just going to proceed to cutting it out now. So yeah, this completes it. This is the second layer and this is the third layer, like I mentioned earlier. I just said we need to extend it, and that is it. So yeah. So when you're cutting, when you're done cutting this, please cut another one for the back. This one that we just cut is for the front, so you just cut another one for the back. So yeah, these are all my pieces. This is the front. So the front of the skirt. So without even sewing it, you can see that it's already like giving. So, and this is the ruffle, the slant one. That is the first layer. We'll be gathering this slantly on top here. So we'll gather and put it. So we just go straight to sewing right now, or maybe I'll just pin it down. I don't know which one I'm going to do it. Either I pin down or I sew all of them together. So guys, first we work on this front piece. So I'm going to gather this. We'll gather this. You gather it, and then we'll gather it on top of this. We'll gather it on this till we get to this part. So here it is, the first layer attached. So you place it right sides together like this. By the time you turn it this way, it follows this way. So yeah, so look at the back, look at our stitch line here. You can see how curved all the way to the hem. So we are going to place this second layer and third layer on top of each other. So this is my second layer. This is my third layer. So I'm placing second layer on top of the third layer. So you can see, so we now gather. I'll hold it together like this. You can just stitch like one straight stitch. Make sure everything aligns too. So you stitch one straight stitch just to keep it together, and then we are now going to attach it here. We gather it, and then we attach to the hem of our skirts. Where's the hem? So this is the hem of my skirts right here. This is the hem here. So after gathering these two together, and then I'm just going to place it right sides together, and then I'll attach to the hem, that is the knee level of the skirt. So I'll attach to this part here. So pretty much, and so this is it completed. This is the completed version. First layer, see, this is our skirt piece. First layer, second layer, third layer. So second layer and third layer join together, and then we attach to the hem of our skirt here, and this is the first layer going on top of it. So you can see that. So everything we've done here, you do the same also for the back, and when you are done doing it, then we place both fronts and backs together, right sides together, and then you sew 1 inch at the side here, and you open this up here, and then you sew 1 inch also at this side also here. So I hope you got the drift of everything. Now I'm just going to place this on my mannequin now, just for you to see the full fit. Don't forget to tap the subscribe button below your screen, tap the like button also, and turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming tutorials when I post them. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.